Our next segment is talking about what is life. Over those past few pictures that you saw last time, what makes them living or non-living organisms? So first thing you need to know is that an organism is a living thing. So whenever I'm saying the word organism, it's referring to anything that is living. So here are a few pictures just of random living things. I know these are living because they fit 6 characteristics that all living things have. The next few slides will go more in depth into each of one of these, but the 6 are having cellular organization, containing similar chemicals, the use of energy, responding to the surroundings, growth and development, and reproduction. So starting off, let's look at cellular organization. You get 2 types of organisms in this category. You're going to have unicellular and multicellular organisms. Unicellular, uni meaning one, single-celled, and multicellular, multi meaning many, many-celled organisms. You and I, humans, are multicellular organisms. But all organisms are made up of cells. These are your building blocks, little pieces that fit together that make you you. Some of these cells are so small that they can even fit a million of them on the tip of a pencil. So these are very, very microscopic things. You do need a microscope to see them. For the most part, there are cells that you can see without a microscope. For example, human egg cells are visible about the size of a period. This here is a paramecium. It is a living thing. It is a protist. It is a single cellular organism. You can see this outline here would be the cell membrane of it, and inside you see all little different organelles. Over here we have a multicellular organism. This is a blue whale. It is the largest mammal on our planet. It is not the largest organism, though, so keep that in mind. The largest organism is actually a colony of fungus deep in a cave somewhere. Similar chemicals. There are 5 chemicals that make up all living things. The first most is water. Yes, water makes up most of us. It makes up most of all of the living things. If it wasn't for water, we wouldn't have life. Next, you have carbohydrates. These are your sugars and starches. This is what gives you energy. This is where your energy comes from, but other organisms get energy from different places as well. Next is proteins. These are building materials. For example, your hair, that's a protein. Your fingernails are proteins. Anything down to the color of your eye is also made of protein. So you're pretty much built of many, many, many different proteins. Along with proteins, you have lipids, which are more fatty tissues, and you have nucleic acids, which are your genetic code, and they determine what you look like. Next is use of energy. All organisms will use energy. The big question is where does that energy come from? And that's going to be a variety of different answers depending on you as an organism. You and I are both heterotrophs, meaning we have to eat other things in order to gain energy. However, a plant does not eat things. It gets its energy from the sun. Vicariously, we all get our energy from the sun. That's where it all really comes from, whether that is powering up your plant to give them energy, and then an animal eats that plant, and then you eat that animal. It all originated from the sun and the solar energy and heat that is radiating off of it. Next is responding to stimuli. A stimulus is the cause of a reaction, and a response is the reaction. So as you can see from our little GIF here, the stimulus is the ball coming at the girl's face. Her reaction is to walk away, hopefully unscathed, but definitely emotionally distraught there. But it is a response to a stimuli. If you were a non-living thing, you would not have a reaction to a stimulus. Next is growth and development. These are 2 key terms that you need to know for your test. Growth is pretty much the process of just getting larger, where development is getting more and more complex. So as you go through your life, not only do you get bigger, you also get more complex. Your cells develop different organ systems and whatnot. Lastly is reproduction. Reproduction is the process of producing offspring that are similar to your parent. You do not reproduce and make an offspring that is different. Two humans cannot make a monkey. Uh, but the question here is, why is this actually a characteristic of life? Because I can think of a few examples of organisms that do not reproduce. For example, every one of you probably has not reproduced yet. Um, some of you may never, but something to think about for discussion in class is, do all organisms actually reproduce, or is there kind of a different meaning to this as a characteristic of living things?